Шановні колеги, ми продовжуємо роботу.
We continue our working day, and now I give the floor to Presidential Administration spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Да, конечно. Good afternoon, dear friends. Now, the information about the events in the ATO area during the last 24 hours. In Lugansk area, the enemy violated ceasefire once. It happened near Sakilevka village, Novodarsk region, and this was shelling of anti-tank complex at our positions. In the Donetsk area, the situation remains the same. During the last 24 hours, there were a number of intensive shellings between ATO forces and the militants along the front line. The enemy repeatedly used mortars. During the last 24 hours, they launched about 150 mines at our positions, and there were no calm areas at the front line, except traditional hot areas like Lugansk, Zaitsevo, Avdiivka, Opetne. The enemy delivered shellings in other places. In Pivnichny village, there is former Kirova, Toretsk city council, and Novoselivka, Druga. On the whole, there were 14 enemy shellings observed, 11 of which with the use of mortars. Mariupol area. Yesterday in the morning, there was heavy artillery shelling in Bogdanovka. The fire was delivered with the use of self-propelled systems called Gvozdika. Enemy delivered mortar fire near Marinka, Dokuchevsk, and Pavlopol, Shorokina. In Mariupol area, there were 17 enemy shellings, including 9 mortar shellings. During the last 24 hours, in the result of the military actions, 1 Ukrainian serviceman was killed and 9 were wounded. Losses of the enemy during the last days. So 4th of June, 4 militants from so-called 9th Regiment that is deployed in Novozovsk. They were wounded while serving in the subversive group in Kominternovo. Then they were evacuated to Russia. On the 5th of June, 3 militants were wounded. They are the members of the same regiment, and they are treated in Zirechka camp that is placed in Bezimenne village. This camp is used as a hospital. On the 6th of June, 1 militant died and 2 were wounded because they were blown up on a minefield. They are from the 7th Brigade, deployed in Debaltseve, and 1 militant from 11th Regiment was killed, and also 2 militants were wounded in the course of mortar-friendly fire. SBU, together with servicemen, detained a member of a subversive group of the militants who attacked one of the positions of the ATO forces in Bakhmutsk region of Donetsk Oblast. They seized a Kalashnikov machine gun with cartridges to it. In Toretsk, they detained machine gun operator of DPR. It was identified that this 21-year-old resident of Gorlovka joined the ranks of Berkut militant group in January 2015 to earn some money. And he became a large caliber machine gun operator called Uchos. And he returned to the positions in Gorlovka, but he was under the influence of alcohol, and he got lost, and he trapped a booby trap near the positions of Ukrainian armed forces, and he was brought to hospital in Toretsk, where he was treated for a long time, and he provided evidence of all his crimes. Also in Rubizhny, SB officers and police officers found a cache of ammunition. They confiscated 2 grenade launchers RPG-26 and 2 grenades RGD-5 and F1. Ukrainian servicemen are trained by foreign instructors in Lvivshina. The 2-week course was completed, and it was delivered was delivered by the Lithuanian instructors in the framework of a joint multinational training group. Now, new requirements are placed for the sergeants of the armed forces, and these requirements of the NATO member states. So, armed forces of Ukraine take part in training in Poland. This is training called Anaconda in the framework of Lithuanian, Polish, and Ukrainian brigade. And this training will be completed until 17th of July. And we remind that the regiment of the 18th Assault Brigade of the paratroopers of the armed forces will take part in this training, being a part of Polish battalion. The President of Ukraine signed the Strategic Defense Bulletin of Ukraine that outlines the priority of development of the armed forces of Ukraine till 2020 to meet alliance standards. This is a complex document that envisages strict terms of completing the tasks. And yesterday in Brussels, they signed a note on the joining of the ministry to the multinational divisions of the armed forces of Visegrad for member states. If you have some comments, please. So introduce yourself first. Ksenia Dvornikova, 5th Channel. Do you have information about where Ukrainian serviceman was killed and where 9 people were wounded? Are there separate areas or one area? So these are separate areas. Near Bishivik, 1 died, 1 was wounded, and 3 wounded in Novotroitsk. Shakhta Putilivska, 2 wounded. Avdiivka, 2 wounded, and near Mayorsk, 1 was wounded. And the second question, could you specify, there was an information that because of the shelling, Zaitseva checkpoint was closed. Could you tell us about the details, what happened at Zaitseva, and for how long it will be closed, and when the work will be restored, and about Mayorsk, that there was a mine there. So could you tell us about this? So any checkpoint, if it comes under enemy fire, the decision is taken to close this checkpoint in order to save lives of our citizens who cross the border. And it doesn't depend on the name of this checkpoint. If there is a threat, and we have reconnaissance data that the enemy if the fire is not envisaged, so they will open this checkpoint. Thank you, Andriy. Do you have other questions or comments? If there are no, thank you. The press conference is over. Thank you. And the next event is at 1 p.m.